Okay, Chmayatlpachi. So I just made this real quick. This is the same exact way that we've been making our necklaces. Okay, same thing. I just have black for this one. But just like my other black one, doing the same exact skills and everything. And now we're gonna be making a cuff. Okay. This one, because it's so narrow and because it's gonna sit on your wrist versus like your chest, this one doesn't need to be, or you don't have to worry so much about like making each row bigger. Honestly, I think I added a bead or so every couple rows on this, and I don't like how it sits on my wrist. It's too loose in the back, or like on this side. It feels kind of funny to me. So personally, I'm not gonna add any beads. So I'm just gonna keep it like these couple rows because these rows feel nicest and they go over my wrist well. But the bead count for this one, this is, I have 20 beads right here. And I would suggest doing all of the same beads up until this row, okay? So I have 20 beads, 18 beads, 20 beads, 3 little 20 beads, and I have 10. 10 fits my wrist well, but this is the row that I would adjust to make sure it fits your wrist. So you can pull it together and try it on like that and see if it'll go over your wrist or not. Okay, and then for this bracelet, again, these are different colors though, but for this bracelet, you can really choose whatever color. We're not going to use that many beads, but I would suggest for these two, because you can do it full that color or like this, you're going to use a lot of that color. So whichever one you have the most of, I would do for those two. And in my other bracelet, this row is also the same color as those two, but really you could do whatever you want. Anyways, I have super long pieces of leather. It doesn't matter if they're different shapes or sizes. It just matters that they fold nicely together. And we're gonna go ahead and complete the circle. Okay. So I'm going to take my needle, and again, like we did the necklace, so I'm gonna cut this little tail real quick so that it doesn't show. Just be careful not to cut your knot. Okay, so like we did for the necklace, and now I'm doing this the other way. Last time I did it this way. You're going to look on the outside, find the pretty edge, and you're gonna stay in line with these beads and just right about there, just like a bead's size down from the edge, you're gonna go through. Okay, careful, miss your fingers, don't break a needle. Okay, just like that. And pull. Okay, I'm just gonna rotate that a little bit. Okay. Again, all of the U's, the folded leather facing you. Now, my string's getting a little tangled. You're going to, right next to this knot, go through again. Okay. Try to miss that bead and support your needle so that it doesn't break. Supporting it in the middle is the most important. It's not going to break at the tip or the bottom as much. It's going to break in the middle and it'll snap. And it'll bend, which you'll see mine is getting bent, but I'm trying to support it as best I can. Okay, pull, pull, pull. Again, drawstring effect. Pull it, make sure all of those leather pieces close nicely. But just like the necklace, we're gonna go up this row. We're not gonna tie a knot yet. Gonna go up this row. Try not to skip any beads or else your sinew will show. Oops, careful, you'll get things caught like me. Okay, so all I did was just go up that row, Make sure to check where your tail is. Make sure it's not too long. It's getting close, not quite there yet. Now, going to go through this piece of leather. Sorry, both pieces of leather actually. So just tuck up there a little bit. And then like I've been doing, I would use the table and just carefully. Again, these are leather needles. Gotta be careful to not poke yourself. They will easily go through your skin, and please don't share them with other people in case you get blood on them. Okay, pull through. Now I have this part going all the way around. The circumference is completed. We're going to pull it nice and tight, drawstring our cuff. Okay. Make sure they're evenly closed. Pull one more time. Okay, now we're gonna make a loop over here. You're gonna go behind and through that loop, just a regular knot. But we're going to cinch it right up close. Right so that it lines up under that bead. Be careful not to hook it on your leather. It's kind of tricky. Okay, pinch, and then you just put your finger on it and pull. Okay, let's do that one more time. So loop goes over. I'm gonna go from the behind, okay? Push your needle and pull it through that loop. Important to make it suck up onto the other one. Okay, and push your finger on it and pull, just like a present. Now, for good measure, we'll make a loop on the other side. Go from the behind, from the back. Pull that leather up through that loop. And pull. Okay, now we have that part done. We're just going to hide this tail by going up my green beads. And like I said in the previous video, I like to just go up like 10 to 15 beads. If you tie more knots than the 2 or 3 that I just did, it'll be hard to get your needle up through these beads, so I'd suggest not tying any more than 4 or 3 even. Okay, so hiding the tail, just gonna go up a little bit more. Try not to poke yourself. Okay, there we go. Now, just like the necklace, pull it so that there's a little bit of tension on your tail and snip. And that's your first row of your cuff. And I hope you checked before we tied it, but it should fit over your wrist nicely. This one's a little tighter than the other one, actually, probably because the bead sizes are a little different, but should fit over your wrist. And actually, I kind of like this tighter because I think it'll stay on better. But there you are. Now you can start literally anywhere on the circle. All you do is you get another piece of sinew, a new one longer than this, and you can start by just going right here and going around, or if you like to start the other way, going over here and going around. Make sure and tie your fancy knot at the end. If you want, I can show that again real quick. So I'm gonna grab another piece of sinew. I gotta split this one real quick. Okay. So to tie the fancy knot, okay, you can discard your other pieces of sinew. You want to discard these just because once they start getting frayed like this, it means that it can be weaker. Okay, so put your needle on your thread. I always just pull them. I like to pull my tail so that it's 3/4 of the way down compared to my other one. So about there's good. Okay, and this is just setting you up so that you can tie your knot to begin, or to keep going, I mean. Okay, I am right-handed, so I put my needle in my left hand. pinch it. Then you're gonna find your long tail. Okay, and I like to hold it like this. And you're gonna put the eye of your needle right, that's down here, and the end that's right there. And you're gonna place them right next to each other. And you're gonna pinch them with that other hand. Now you should have a big loop. And again, you're using your long tail from your needle. Okay, pinch. Now you're gonna wrap down, and you're gonna do 5 to 7 times. Or something like that. I always like to wrap lots. One more time for good measure. Now you have all of that wrapped on there. You need to slide it down with your other hands. You're gonna pinch these 2 fingers and slide it down. And then you're gonna carefully switch hands. Now this hand is open, and now you have it all there. You can pull this away too. Now you might have to adjust these fingers a little bit. If there's too much pressure, your needle won't move. But if you can hold it nicely, and maybe just relax it a little bit so that you can get it around the eye of the needle. That's kind of the hardest part. You're gonna pull this other needle up, and like I am kind of rolling sometimes to get it around the eye of the needle, and then it's super easy. You just pull, 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 like this. And there you are, left with a nice knot at the end, and you can go ahead and trim your tail a little bit. So there's just a little bit. Okay, away, danke,